The information provided to you on Crossroads of Health by its hosts or sponsors is for educational and personal alternatives. Statements have not been established by the Food and Drug Administration. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome to Crossroads of Health, where common sense and good science intersect, with your hosts Rick Simpson and Melanie Martorana. And now it's time for Crossroads of Health.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting episode of Crossroads of Health, where common sense and good science intersect. Always real, always unscripted. As usual, I'm your host, Rick Simpson.
And I'm your co-host, Melody Martorana. The note of migraines, Rick. I found a great little article that was written by Dr. Mark Stankler. It was part of his house calls, and he talks about migraines boosting heart risk. And
wow.
Yeah, so again, we're focused on heart health over these next few weeks, and so I'm just going to read to you a little snippet from what he wrote here. And for those of you who experience migraines, you'll probably agree it's not just a headache. It is a splitting, debilitating, earth-stopping, can't get anything done, hammer to the head. Throw in the colorful agony of aura. And I had to look up what aura was because I was sort of thinking like, it sounds like, ooh, a hippie term, you know, like.
That's what I didn't know what it was either. So we don't know. We definitely don't know everything here, but we can look things up. So Melody, tell them what aura means.
Yeah. And, you know, I really enjoy the opportunity to do research too when I see something new, because I'm thinking, oh, aura, you've got good colors, you know, whatever.
That's what I think.
In any case, though, aura is a perceptual disturbance that's experienced by some migraine sufferers before a migraine headache. It can be zigzag lines. It can be just a worm-like thing or a haze that they see. It's something that disturbs their visuals before they get a migraine headache. So it says, throw in the colorful agony of aura and your migraine misery will reach the next level, and it may not be done with you yet. Migraines with aura are also a risk factor for deadly disease, especially heart problems, and especially in women. So it's funny, we're talking a lot about women today because we already talked about chocolate. And one new study shows how those risks are much bigger than anyone would have ever guessed. The 15-year study of 27,860 women finds that migraine with aura triples the risk of serious heart problems, such as heart attack and stroke. It even triples the risk of death from any cardiovascular problem at all. In fact, it's such a reliable indicator of heart risk that it ranks ahead of almost everything else. So for instance, diabetes and obesity can increase your risk of heart problems, but not as much as a migraine with aura, according to this massive study that was done. Have a family history of heart disease, that's a big risk factor too, but not as big as migraine with aura. Smoking may be bad for your heart, but migraine with aura is actually worse. The only risk factor that ranked ahead of migraine with aura was high blood pressure. So we're going to be talking about that in the coming weeks as well, according to the study from the American Academy of Neurology. And if you suffer from migraine with aura and take hormonal birth control pills, a second new study from the Academy finds you will face a higher risk of blood clots. So you can choose not to take birth controls, but you can't choose not to have migraines. There are steps you can take to minimize them, even if you're prone to the condition, because in another new study, researchers have found that the supplements of B vitamins, including B6, B12, and folate, which we talked about in the multis, from Dr. Stengler in the Emerald Laboratories line, can reduce migraine severity in women who have a genetic predisposition for the condition. So very interesting how badly migraines can affect heart health. I have some girlfriends who suffer from severe migraine headaches, and I'm fortunate not to be a sufferer. But oh my gosh, when I hear about the pain that they're in, and you just want to turn out the lights and crawl into a hole. I mean, it's an awful phenomenon. So it's nice to know that there are some supplements that you can take to help bolster your system. The B vitamins are very important. They're in all of the multis and Emerald Laboratories. We also have a phenomenal Be Healthy complex in Emerald Laboratories, which is clinical potency servings of coenzymated B2, B6. You get methylated B12. And again, you get the L5-methyl tetrahydrofolate form of folic acid.
And that's something that we're going to be driving home continuously on the show is this coenzyme folic. You cannot find any product in the market that uses this pure coenzyme folic. Almost zero companies in the health food stores use the L5-methyl tetrahydrofolate form because it's so extremely expensive. But Dr. Stenger requires it in his clinic because he has patients. So that's a big issue. Just not any folic acid will do. You need that coenzyme form. Also, I want to mention, this is not something we carry, but with headaches, there is a product called Feverfew, just like fever and then FEW, Feverfew. And if you get a Feverfew extract standardized on parthenolide, that was shown in some European research to be potentially helpful with migraine headaches. So just something to consider. You want to make sure you're getting a good quality extract from a good company, preferably a German company where, you know, they know how to extract things. But those were shown to be helpful in some instances. And also I mentioned about the tyramines. That's a TYRAMINE. There are a lot of foods that contain tyramines, and these can also help to stimulate the migraine headache, which of course you don't want to do. So you might just check on the internet under foods that contain tyramines and try and avoid those also. Thanks for listening in, and we'll hopefully have you back next week.